We are indeed going to go through a book summary. To be a bit more precise, we're going to go through the Sovereign, I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyways, Individual by Davidson and Rees-Mogg. Something that bothers me though is the fact that there is a bit, well, should be fine. So it apparently is a little bit of a book that is gonna let you see the world differently after you have read it. It's probably gonna it shows you different things. It lets you think about different things in a different way, and well, I'm excited. I really am excited to go through another book, and this book I didn't already go through. There's so many books that I already read at least a summary of. Some of them I've also then decided to read the whole one just because they were pretty amazing. But anyway, let's actually start. And there it is. I could actually make it a bit bigger. So like this. And now I do also not have the problem here, which was something that I was talking about before, that there is a bit of overlap, of these share buttons, but I could also push them away. And now I can zoom in a bit again so that you can also read it, I at least hope. But yeah, let's just start, I would say. I should actually keep it in this way. No, I think it is fine like this. High-level thoughts. One of those few books where you see the world differently after reading it. The next couple decades of technological advancements will give us an unprecedented ability to live in ways that would have been unthinkable 30 years ago. I would argue that we are already doing so. This book outlines how tech will change the ways we live, especially relative to countries, and how we can take advantage of it. Well, I would heavily argue that we are already doing that. We are already living in ways that were unthinkable 30 years ago. And, not just something really major and whatnot, but still I'd argue that it is the case. I would argue that we already have a life that is, really, really technically advanced at this point, regarding probably also regarding things that we don't really know of, because there is a lot of research and a lot of technical advances in areas that are not that prominent. And maybe we just don't think about it. But in the background, there's also a ton of stuff going on, a ton of things people research, a ton of things people work on, which is amazing at my point of view. I love to see technical advances that will basically lead to better lives. I think this is kind of the most important thing there is, just using our abilities, using our technical advancements for a better life, and basically also guarantee a better life for more people, and not just only the ones that are capable of buy that technology, building technology that is operated in ways so that people benefit from it anyways, wherever you are, and also just, researching those things, ways in which we can produce food, ways in which we can, I don't know, generate water, and all of these really amazing things. Anyway, the transition of the year 2000, the fourth stage of human society. We are entering into the fourth state of human society: hunting and gathering societies, agricultural societies, industrial societies, informational societies. In the future, wealth will be measured not just by the amounts in your bank account, but in your ability to structure your affairs to realize complete individual autonomy and independence. Unprecedented financial independence will be possible for you in your lifetime. Well, this is basically also, it's very interesting. Also thinking about the fact that when we all are financially free, then is this really something to strive for? This is just going to be the new normal. We all can get what we want to have. We all can be whoever we want to be. And so in the end, what is the thing that we're striving for? What is the thing that we all want to have? Well, I'd say that no. I would say that fame is still going to be something. You know, being popular is still going to be something that people would, I guess, like to have, and people would like to focus on, achieve, acquire. But I don't know, like, what would something else be that we would like to have if we already have everything materialistic? You know, maybe happiness. You know, maybe there's going to be another pandemic in terms of huge increasements of unhappiness. Well, I would actually kind of see that in the future to some degree, when we all have what we would like to have, basically. Anyway, hunting and gathering, I've read that already. The cyber economy, more than any individual country's economy, will be the greatest economic phenomenon of the future. As our financial freedom increases, governments won't have any chance or choice but to treat us more like customers and less like victims of an organized crime ring. When money can be earned anywhere and you won't be obligated to live in or subject yourself to high taxation, governments that charge too much will drive away their best customers. The nation state will not endure these changes in its present form. As technology weakens the state will treat these new sovereigns, I guess, individuals with hostility in the same way it treats challenging governments. In the information age, a job will be a task that you do, not a thing that you have. As more money moves online, governments won't be able to track or control it anymore. They'll lose their power over commerce and won't be able to treat their citizens as a farmer milking cows. As the Soviet Union tried to suppress access to personal computers and Xerox machines, Western governments will seek to suppress the cyber economy by totalitarian means. Well, of course, if it is indeed threatening the government in a way that it loses power and it loses control, then it just really makes sense that they want to do something against that and do something about that, because obviously they do not want to have that. You know, they would like to be in control, and they would like to have the upper hand over most people. I'd say that at this point in time they're having that, but not necessarily over everyone. You know, especially politicians, I guess, you know, they can tricks around things, and also very wealthy people, they can also tricks around certain things. You know, not everything. Taxation, may or may not be, unless it is done in an illegal way and in a way that is going to lead to more problems in the future. But other things, I guess, you know, people can have a workaround if they just have the financial means to do so. As individual sovereignty increases, new ludities will arise who rebel against the technological advances, allowing for their individual autonomy. There will be a nostalgia for the past flamed by a crisis from the transition. The greatest resentment will likely be centered among the middle class in rich countries. They will feel they have the most to lose. Anyone receiving handouts from the government will resent the sovereign individuals who don't support them. With technology increasing, we'll move closer and closer to Neil Stephenson's metaverse in Snow Crash, where we live as much online as offline and conduct ourselves according to the online laws and customs working in the cyber economy. What is funny as it is, isn't Facebook kind of working on that? You know, the whole metaverse thing? I'd actually like to have a look at that. Should we? Let me just... What is this? You know, something else. This is, by the way, another book summary site, because I was just looking up the site that I am on, which is the netliaison.com or org. I think it is org site. Metaverse. Let me see. Is an iteration of the internet, part of shared virtual reality, often as a form of social media. Facebook's meta mission was laid out in a 2018 paper declaring the metaverse is ours, whatever. Metaverse Studios. What if I just Google Facebook? You know, is then something gonna come up? No. Meta. Let's actually do it like. What if I Google Meta? No, not Metaverse, but just Meta. And for some reason, about Facebook, the Facebook company is now Meta. There we go. Is there something, who we are, what we build? I think what we build is a bit more interesting than who we are, because who we are is, you know, a bit clear. It's probably going to be like the head company of Facebook, and then therefore also WhatsApp and Oculus and something else. Spotify, I guess. Yes, I guess so. And so for me, you know, from a business standpoint, I think it just really makes sense. It was always quite interesting that the head of it all was Facebook and that everything belongs to Facebook. But Facebook just being its own thing, you know, it just really does make sense that you're having a head company of all of it, you know, or around all of it that includes all of these things. And it might also be useful for them when it comes to taxation, when it comes to laws and whatever, and there are possibilities, which, you know, I think is actually a pretty huge thing when you have a company. You know, a lot of things maybe around laws, how to deal with them and whatnot. Connection is evolving, and so are we. The metaverse is the next evolution of social connection. Our company's vision is to help bring the metaverse to life. So we are changing our name to reflect our commitment to this future. Well, obviously, a public statement that should, I think, be taken with a grain of salt. The metaverse will be social. 3D spaces in the metaverse will let you socialize, learn, collaborate, and play in ways that go beyond what we can imagine. Listen to Mark Zuckerberg share our vision for bringing the metaverse to life together. Chapters, you know, there are even chapters. I do not want to listen to that. It wouldn't also work too well with the recording there, I'd say. You know, I wouldn't really know how loud it has to be, and maybe there are also, you know, besides the fact that they are extremely long, might be some copyright issues then. I just really do not want to deal with that. Building the metaverse. We're already developing exciting new technologies that will help people connect and explore in the metaverse. Virtual reality, something that, I don't know, I would say is really common at this point of time, and I love seeing it evolve, as we have seen it with games actually, like Half-Life, is it called, I guess? I don't know the sub name or sub headline or whatnot, but these games have really been, have really been getting pretty good. Something that I'd love to see in the future is actually being able to walk there, you know, in some sort of treadmill type of way, I guess it's probably going to be. And there's also some companies that are working on that. But at this point of time, for me, it feels more or less like, you know, first of all, a customer couldn't pay for it. It's just way too much unless you know, of course, have the financial means to do so. But at this point of time, it is nothing that can be, I guess, commercialized in the way of being able to sell it in masses. Then augmented reality, well, I'd say that this is as well a big part of our life already. Smart glasses, actually not so. I don't actually know anybody personally that is having smart glasses. Smart watch is more a thing, but Ray-Ban stories. Is Ray-Ban also part of Facebook? I guess actually no, but why would they then talk about Ray-Ban there and explicitly point them out? I mean, there's other companies that build smart glasses. I mean, like, you know, Google and I think Snapchat. Well, if you know, it depends on how you define it, but they also did something rather similar. Discover all you can do with virtual reality, and Oculus, a company by Meta, not Facebook anymore. But I do wonder though, before they were always talking about like X, Y, and Z being a part of Facebook, is it now a part of Meta? Is Facebook now a part of Meta? Or is Facebook now just still Facebook? And just, they just changed the name. But then what I think about is, you on one hand had the company and brand and social media side Facebook, but you also had the head company Facebook, but then it would also mean that Facebook as a brand and as a social media site was part of Facebook, as well as Oculus and WhatsApp and Spotify are part of Facebook, just being one piece of a huge company. A future made by all of us. Responsible innovation. Meta, and whatnot. Facebook is now Meta. Actually, a pretty neat animation there. Really cool one. Also the logo and whatnot, I really like it. Oh, by the way, also Instagram, of course, it's also by Facebook. I've nearly forgotten about that. Company info. Give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together. And a lot of people smiling. Use our apps to connect with customers and grow. 200 million plus businesses. And, well, probably 150 million of them are just bullshit. Drop shipping stuff, What I do not like to see is this, you can't hardly, you actually can't read it. Well, And there we have Mark Zuckerberg in the midst of a ton of people, smiling, being happy. Founder, chairman, and chief executive officer. Then we have chief product officer and chief whatever officer, and actually a ton of them, a few of them are indeed women, which I really heavily like to see, even if I'm actually not quite sure what I think about the fact that certain companies are obligated to have a certain quote, at least in Austria it is the case. I don't know what laws are in other countries, but where I live, companies are to some extent, as far as I know, obligated to have a certain percentage of the employees be women. And I don't know what to think about that. I think on one hand it is actually a pretty cool thing and a pretty great thing, because it's important to have well, how should I say, to have a company that gives everyone the same chances. But in the end, if it is, I don't know, like if it is built on quote unquote performance, if I choose somebody over somebody else just because they are better than the other person, whether it is by soft skills or hard skills, well, I would not like to care whether this person is female or male. If the male is just better and I think that this person is just better suited for the business and whatnot, then I should also take this person. In the end, I really don't know. Nobody knows, whether this person is indeed gonna be as good as they claim they are and as good as they seem to be. But I don't know, like, it's complicated. But anyway, mega political transformations in historic perspective. You can't rely on conventional information sources to give you an objective warning about how the world is changing and why. You have to figure it out for yourself. What are people doing there actually? I don't understand. Oh. Forecasting is generally wrong, but it can be done well. A forecast that anticipates the impact of incentives on behavior is likely to be broadly correct. The greater the anticipated change in costs and rewards, the less trivial the implied forecast is likely to be. Points to keep in mind when trying to understand the information revolution. A shift in the foundation of power unfolds far in advance of the actual revolutions in use of power. Incomes are falling when a major transition begins. People are blind to the logic of violence in existing society, so they are blind to the changes in that logic. Mega political changes are not recognized before they happen. Major transitions always evolve a cultural revolution and usually entail clashes between adherents of the old and new values. Mega political changes are never popular because they antiquate intellectual capital and break down established moral imperatives. Transitions to new ways of organizing life happen in pieces, starting with the catalyst of the change. Transitions always evolve periods of social chaos and heightened violence due to disorientation and breakdown of the old system. Corruption, moral decline, and inefficiency appear to be signal features of the final stages of the system. The growing importance of technology in shaping the logic of violence has led to history accelerating, where each transition happens faster than the last. There are 4 key pieces to understanding meta-political changes. Topography, the control and makeup of the land. Climate, its change can precipitate major shifts in power. The 17th century was fraught with social revolution. Microbes and disease can cause radical changes in power. Well, as you can see with the ongoing pandemic, certain companies evolved, certain other companies were crushed. But yeah, technology plays the biggest and most impactful role in the new mega-political changes, though. Period. And yeah, with this as well being said, I guess I'm going to end the episode here, and therefore also the stream. Do not forget to like if you have liked this episode, and subscribe to the podcast / the stream / the YouTube video or channel to not ever again miss out on any episodes. But yeah, with that being said, I'm going to see you the next time. Bye bye, and happy Halloween, by the way. Anyway. Have a nice day.